Period. All right, so it's Saturday morning, and I am super duper excited, guys, because I have some awesome, fabulous, dynamic college leaders joining us, and they are going to share their insight, their wisdom, their knowledge with you. So I need every about to be college student, every parent of about to be college student to join in, get your questions, and all that good stuff. Because here we're gonna talk about some things, but we also are going to answer questions if you ask some questions. The goal here is to help um, future college students be that much more prepared. So, what do you need to know to be successful in college? What do you need to know to be properly prepared? What do you need to know to make sure your scholar, when they step on that campus, whether it's virtually or in person, they are ready to hit the ground running? Because here's the reality. We all know college is not cheap. This is not the time to go through an experimental process. That's money down the drain. That's too much to waste. So I am going to let these fabulous, talented ladies introduce themselves, tell you what school they are repping, and share a little bit about themselves. And then we're going to just have a conversation. So buckle up and get ready, because these are some dynamic college leaders who you're going to see in the future, because they are going to lead in the areas they are in, because that's just how fabulous they are. All right, so y'all know me. I didn't even introduce myself. So, Tamika Williamson, your favorite college for free coach, the College Prep Boss, but it ain't about me. It's about showcasing these leaders and helping the next wave of college students get prepared. So, how about we start with you, fabulous Bria? Now, How about we start with you, Bria? And we're just gonna go down the line.
Okay. My name is Bria Dickerson. I'm a rising senior, journalism major, leadership and cinema studies minor from Delaware, and I attend the illustrious Hampton University, the real HU. Don't let anybody else tell you any different. Yeah. What else do you need to know? I'm really heavy on production, film production. That's what I do at school. I do a lot of camera work, a lot of videography. That's how I kind of made my name on campus. I have a production company called Accent Films, and that's where I just do all of my videos and editing and stuff like that. Have an internship with Paramount Pictures this summer. So really just trying to get things started and getting ready to make that transition outside of college. So, yeah.
Awesome. Give it up for Bria. So how about we go to wait a minute. Yeah, so I'll be so I probably should have had Bria doing the production on this stuff. This is not my lane, but that's all right. I'm gonna get it. So next we gonna bring fabulous Miss Maya.
Hey everybody, I'm Maya McDaniels. I'm from Zachary, Louisiana, and I go to Rusk College, which is in a small town in Mississippi called Holly Springs. I'm a biology major, a rising senior, and I'll be pursuing orthopedic surgeon after I complete med school. Let's see. I just was on the sophomore class cabinet. I was also with the pre-med club, so I have a little insight on how med school is supposed to go, but not as much as I'd like.
All right. So thank you, Maya, for sharing. Excellent, excellent. Next up, we're gonna bring Kayla to the stage. Come on, Kayla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla. I'm a rising sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia at Mercer University. I am currently studying international business and Spanish on the pre-law track with a minor in data science. And I'm super involved on campus with a lot of different cool organizations. And so I'm really happy to talk with you guys today on what to expect for college.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Kayla. Last but not least, Harris, come on to the stage.
Hey everybody, so my name is Karis. I'm a rising sophomore at Howard University. This is the real HU, so I don't know what Bria was talking about, but Howard is the real HU. And I'm studying biology with double minors in chemistry and political science. My freshman year at Howard has been online, but I was still able to be involved with some extracurriculars there, and one of my biggest accomplishments is being a recently elected senator for Howard student government. So I'm really excited to speak to you guys about my experience with college so far.
Man, so didn't I tell y'all they super fabulous? I told y'all. So get ready. Now, let me see how I can balance this. Okay, yeah. So one of the things I want you guys to pick up on, because if you didn't, I need to make sure y'all pick this up. Every last one of them talked about being involved. I heard extracurricular activities. I heard internships. I used to tell the students all the time, what it takes to get into college doesn't stop. Because the things you did to get to college, you have to continue to do to get to the next level. Whether it's grad school, whether it's going directly into your careers, they are still looking for well-rounded leaders. So that means you can't just go to college and just focus on your academics. You must get out and mingle, meet people, be involved in extracurricular activities, be involved in community service. You still got to make sure your grades are on point. And those things are necessary if you want to be able to go to the next level, because grad school is competitive. Depending on the area you're going into, it's not as simple as I'm just going to apply and I'm going to get in. No, they're looking for some things. We have 2 scholars here who are going to med school. How are they going to set themselves apart on their med school applications? Well, they're already doing the work to do just that. So starting out, let's start with this, because we got seniors and we have some scholars who just finished their freshman year. If there's one thing you wish you knew before college started, before you started your college journey, what is that one thing and why?
For me, I would say like it's okay to say no and not have to be forced to do everything. As a freshman, I was really like wide-eyed and bushy-tailed to do everything because I was really trying to get involved. And it didn't work out quite well because I was always busy. But like it's okay to say no, but still, do your due diligence to like join other things. That was specifically for me. But like, don't get overwhelmed. You will get overwhelmed very quickly. Like once you go to organizational bazaar and you see everything that's on campus, like you really want to end up doing everything because you just want to get your feet wet and like really trying to, put yourself out there. But don't get you. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. So it's okay to say no. Nobody will hate you. Like you'll find your lane, your freshman year for sure.
Okay, awesome.
I would say probably I don't even know. Be more involved early on, because I waited later to do my extracurriculars, and that kind of hurt me in a sense. Because the things I could have done now, I could have done my freshman year, and I already made a name for myself and try to play catch up and make a name for myself now.
Okay. Awesome.
I would say for me, being a biology major, a STEM major, it's really diving in head first. So, for some people, they say freshman year is easy. It's pretty straightforward. But in my experience, mine was kind of a double whammy because I'm jumping into freshman year as a bio major, but also virtually. So it was something figuring out professors who didn't respond to emails, who were hard to get in contact with. It was just more difficult doing it virtually. But then also, I wish more people spoke on how they bounce back from failing, because a lot of times you hear about people succeeding, people doing this, that, the third, but you don't hear about the reality of transferring to college, realizing it's hard, kind of having a couple of scrapes, but how did you recover from that, and how did you get to where you are now?
Wow. Go ahead, Kayla.
Sorry. No, so I know you said one thing, but there are two things that I wanted to point out. The first one being, in all seriousness, college is super expensive if you don't have like a full ride or anything like that. So really look at how you're gonna pay for school, because nobody, like, people tell me, Miss Coach T told me college is expensive. And I was like, no, you're playing. No, college is expensive. So find a way how you're going to talk with your parents, figure out how you're gonna pay for it. And the second thing is, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So with whatever it is that you need, you have to speak up for yourself. I actually had an incident over the summer where I wasn't able to go to school or be on campus my first semester, and I was just going to give up. But I reached out to the president, the dean, the this, and I ended up getting the opportunity to take all of my classes virtually, because my institution is not a virtual institution. So because of me reaching out, I was able to do some things that maybe some other students didn't have the opportunity to do so. So definitely speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself, because that's how you're going to get what you want to get.
You know, so there's a couple of things I want us to expound on, but before I go to the failure, the advocate for yourself, because I'm sure y'all have heard me say it many times. You got to know how to advocate for yourself. You got to know how to go find those people on campus. I like to call them who holds the purse strings. So who have an example where they can show, in addition to what Kayla just shared, what advocating for yourself looks like and how it paid off. Because that right there, I think, is so paramount for future college students, because we're in this environment where we do everything by this. You can't rely just on your advice when you get to college. You got to keep in mind the people you're dealing with at the institution don't just communicate by cell phone. So who can share an example or two when they advocated for themselves and how it paid off for them?
I have a story. So I'm a part of at school for our journalism program. We have in scripts. We have not a radio show, but a TV station called WHOB TV. And I was freshman year. I knew I wanted to get involved in my major, so that was how I got there. And so we were in a meeting room or whatever, and the executive producer was like, "Oh, we really are in need of an editor." And then I was really shy. Like, I was a freshman. I didn't really want to speak up for myself, but room was silent. Nobody really said anything. I was like, I edit, she's like, okay, cool. That next week I was put to work. And then that one little editing thing came into, this girl knows how to edit. So let's ask her to do that. And so it turned into me recording stuff for events and me doing this for, different other organizations. And now it turned into this whole big, me starting a company type of thing. So it's really just making sure that one little yes. I know I said don't say, you have to say no, but that one little yes will really put you where you need to be. So
now, before somebody else respond, because I know you all are going to be a little modest, so I get to be the one to pull out all the great things. So Bria, come on now. One of those edited features you did, it led to a lot of different opportunities. One of them was retweeted by somebody.
Yeah. The end of my freshman year, it was me and a couple friends, my classmates. We did a little video, the Beyonce challenge, the Before I Let Go challenge. We recorded a video, I edited, whatever. And so at the end of the school year, Beyonce posted it on her story. So, I was cute little credit from her, which is really cool. I'll cherish that moment forever. But yeah, that was kind of the start of my little editing career.
And I'm gonna change your language. It's not a little editing career.
A big one. Yeah.
Yes, because you've been editing for a while, and you've done things for Hampton. You've even created freshman videos for incoming freshmen. So now.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to advocate for myself still, truly. But yeah.
Awesome. Who else?
I was going to say mine is kind of simple, but as simple as grades. There have been instances where I get a grade on either a test or an assignment, and I'm I'm pretty sure my grade is not lining up with the work I did, the studying I put into it. And so I'll probably talk more about this later, but office hours are your best friend. Office hours are clutch. And the thing is, professors aren't going to come to you and say, hey, do you want me to look over this again? If you have a question about something, you have to take it to them. And I've had a couple of instances where I get points back. And so it's a simple example of advocating for yourself, but it's really important because you could get points back, and professors aren't going to do that. They're not going to come to you. You have to go to them.
And I'm going to piggyback on that as a professor. I've had students come to me and challenge their grade, and I'm sharing this from my vantage point. We as professors make mistakes. Let me repeat that. We as professors make mistakes because, and I try to put myself in a optimal setting when I'm starting to grade, because I know if I'm tired, if it's been a long day and I try to grade late in the evening, I'm more prone to make mistakes. So I try to minimize that. But there are situations and times where you just can't avoid it. And so we make mistakes, and we're not going to be the ones to catch it. If you're reading the feedback and going over your notes and your work that we provided, you get to identify, wait a minute, you said I missed this, but I actually didn't. It was covered on page 3. And there have been many cases where they've called it out, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I did miss that. I apologize, and I've adjusted their grades. But to Kara's point, if you're not managing, because you own that, the professor, it's not their responsibility. If you're not managing your workload and owning it and taking in the feedback that they give you and applying it, the professor is not going to catch it, and they don't care. And it also makes you, they look at you at a higher level. Okay, this is a person who really is paying attention, who cares about their grade, who cares about the quality of their work product. And so they are now going to be that much more cognizant of how they grade your work. I'm telling you from a professor's point of view, because they know you're paying attention, versus a student who never read the feedback and they continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. I can tell you that is something that drives me crazy. And when I see students are not taking the knowledge I give them and applying it, that I have zero sympathy when it comes to their grades. So I'm telling you, this is how we think as professors. So I'm glad you brought that up, Karis. Anybody else before we move, talk about failure?
For me, it was, I seeked out my division head to help me with med school. And I told her kind of my plan, what I want to do. And after the conversation we had, when she see me around campus, or she would actively seek me out to ask me questions or bring information to me.
So cultivating those relationships, because your mom and I was actually going back and forth with that last night. Like, okay, we'll have her to do this, this, and this, because you're getting ready to move to the next stage, and so we want to make sure you make that right transition and those opportunities come your way. So the need to cultivate, and manage those connections, it doesn't stop, guys. It doesn't stop. So let's talk about failure. Karis, you talked about how you wish people would have shared how they bounce back from failure. Mm-hmm. So what advice, who failed at something, and you can talk about your lesson learned and how you bounce back. So what can we share with folks listening, with students who are about to go to college? Because having worked with young people, this is a topic a lot of young people don't know how to handle well. You know, we set these high expectations, and nothing is wrong with that, but failure is a part of life. The goal is to fail forward, not fail backwards. So what strategies, what tips will we give students on how to fail forward? What are those lessons learned, etc.?
I think the biggest thing I would say, especially for incoming freshmen, is you have to start off on the right foot. because most of the time, like sometimes there's a period where you can, of course there's grace for each failure to bounce back, but if I'm thinking about it as like how much damage will be done and how much you're going to have to undo, you have to go back, you have to go in on the right foot. And for me, that where I missed that, like not stepping in on the right foot, was resources. Resources are everywhere, but they're not going to be handed to you. Like you have to go get them. So when I was saying, go to office hours if you're not understanding a grade or you're not understanding content, have study groups with your classmates, regular study groups. Go to the free tutoring that your university offers. Like you can't wait till midterms to try to correct everything. And you have to realize that there are resources, but especially in college, they're not going to be handing them to you. You just have to go get them yourself. And I think if you step in with that mindset and having a game plan like that, it will prevent failure. But even when you do fail, recognize that you're not the first person this has ever happened to. Like, I think it's easy to get caught up in everybody's success stories and not realizing that they had to work through something too. So for me, that's been like talking to upperclassmen bio majors, like, how did you handle this class? Did you pass it? Did you always understand every last thing that was going on? And honestly, you'd be surprised with how many people have failed. But the key is seeing how they bounce back, and they can help you out. So reach out to people because you're not the only one.
Yeah, I would say, like, right now, a lesson that I'm learning at this very moment is asking for help. Like, you're gonna have to like me, I was very independent going to college, thought that I knew everything. I really don't. So like you really have to like seek and find help and do that early. Like you have to ask for help. Nobody's gonna let you fail if they see the effort that you're putting in. So you have to be comfortable with saying like, hey, I need help with blah, say blah, like what can you do for me? So
from the help standpoint, how many of you, let's talk about your tribe or your crew, what type of advice would you give students in terms of the people they surround themselves with? Because I think the other part of this asking for help is not only to the professors and utilizing the resources at the school, it's also about your circle that you surround yourself with. How critical is that? Because I'm always telling folks, if you're the smartest one in your circle, you need to change your circle. But at the collegiate level, you cannot do college alone. If you try to do college alone, you are going to fail. You're going to fail. It's not meant to be done alone, especially if you're in a STEM major. So let's talk about that. How critical is your tribe, your circle of friends?
Okay, it's like it's very, very important, like very important. My friends I met on the first day of freshman year, on moving day. We are stuck like glue to now. One of the beautiful things about Hampton is they assign you a big, which is somebody that's older than you that kind of like knows the ways and stuff. So I'm really, really close with my big. She was a business. I met her senior year of high school. Not high school, her senior year of college. And she stayed an extra year to get her master's. So she was always there to like drive me around to just do simple stuff, like go to Walmart, but also be there for like advice. We would go to church together and things like that. And she would really introduce me to the other side of campus of like things that we freshmen didn't know. Also, like get really close with people in your major and your classes. Like you're going to find yourself with seeing the same people in your class every day. And so you have to get really comfortable with them and making those little group chats. Group chats will really save your life in college. Like you get in every group chat that you can, because like everybody is in there and willing to help. So like, but you have to keep your tribe close to you and, really weed out the people that are going to be fake, because you are going to encounter people that are going to like want things from you, and it's never a give and take relationship. So you have to be like mindful of that. But definitely like your tribe is very important for sure.
I would say, oh, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, at Russ, they had orientation when I was a freshman, and they grouped us by major. So we were forced to make connections within our major. But I say also have friends who aren't in your major to get different perspectives on different things. So it's not just surrounded by just people in like mass communication, people in just business. Have a intermingling because that can also benefit you within college.
I was gonna say, I can piggyback off of like the importance of group chats, especially in a virtual environment. And I was also blessed to be a part of a STEM scholars program at Howard. So I already had like a group of driven, smart individuals going in who provided a lot of support just throughout this whole freshman year process. But like, as far as group chats, they're important, even if you're not like super active in it. Like it, just because you join doesn't mean you have to talk all the time, but it can come in clutch. Like if you're not understanding assignments or somebody has like in the sense of Chem Lab, like data that you need. But like really what Coach Tamika said, you can't do it by yourself. And if you did, like you're going to stress yourself out for no reason. Like you don't have to work. One thing I'm learning is you don't have to work yourself to death to be productive. Like you can be productive and still have a good quality of life. So definitely depend on the interdependence that you get from like each of your classmates.
Awesome. So let's talk about this virtual adjustment. So Bria, you got the experience on campus life, and then you were thrust into virtual. And same with you, Maya, Karis, and Kayla. You had to start out virtually. All those students are thinking, well, I did virtual in high school, so I'll be fine when I start college. That adjustment from high school to college, how much of a rude awakening was that? Let's start there. Because is it the same or is it different? You know I tell students, but I think they need to hear directly from those who've experienced, because I don't think they really take it seriously in understanding there's a difference between the two. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's very different. I cried my third day into college. I really did. I cried. I cried. I was calling my mom, honest to truth. I was like, Mom, like, I don't think I can do it. Like, everybody else is making friends and I'm just in my dorm room. Like, it's so hard. Like the transition is hard. And I was the only child too. So I was never around that many people. Like, it was just a whole lot of, but like the transition is hard. You're going to have to work a little bit harder than you were in high school because, it's a new environment and you have to get your name out there again. So you have to work a little bit harder. As far as the transition from being virtual to in person, I'm already assuming it's going to be different because, you're going to have to actually wake up, walk to your class. Now we're waking up and just logging in, but like, you got to wake up and walk across campus and actually walk to the caf and stuff like that. So it is going to be a little bit harder, but you just have to work, put a little bit effort in, and I'm pretty sure it'll be worth it at the end and you'll make the correct adjustment. So, yeah.
Like I keep
No, go Maya. I just want to know, Kayla, you've been a little quiet, so I know you're not a quiet person. So okay, go Maya.
Like I keep saying, those relationships with a virtual environment are harder to form because you're just looking at your professor through a screen, to where maybe if you walk up, they might not even recognize who you are. So things like that are just harder to form, where we were just in the classroom to start. And so you just have to put in extra effort to make sure your professor knows you, speak up during virtual class and everything, stay back office hours or after to ask questions, just so that your professor knows you at least by name, even if they don't remember your face as clearly as they would within an in-person setting.
I was gonna say from my experience, it's super common for people to go to class, have their camera off, not really have a relationship or like make any step to let the professor get to know them. So for anybody doing virtual college this upcoming academic year, just realize that most of your letters of recommendation for like summer opportunities and anything else that you're pursuing will come from those professors. But if you're just like an apathetic student, then they're not really gonna know you enough to write you a solid letter of recommendation. So like keep the future in mind and let that be your motivation to, you know, take initiative, like answer questions in class, go to office hours, talk to your professor a little bit, because it will pay off in the future when you're pursuing those opportunities and you really need these letters of recommendation from professors.
Okay, Kayla, nothing from you. You quiet. What's going on?
No, I think these ladies are doing a good job of explaining and answering these questions. So I don't really think my little bit of 2 cents will do much. But I definitely will jump in. I'm taking notes to try to see where I can fill in. But so far, you guys are covering everything. So keep up the great work.
No, it's not Kayla. Okay. And so, you know, Karis, you brought up letters of recommendation and think forward. I want to make sure everybody listening understands that piece. Because let me tell you, I've been out of college 20 some years. I'm just going to say that. And I tell you right now, I can go back to my engineering professors and they know who I am 27 years later. And I can still ask for letters of recommendation. And because I've had to do it. I've had several, I went back to them and they wrote letters of recommendations for me for grad school. When I was thinking about going to get my PhD, I went back to my college professors and they wrote those letters of recommendation. And that was like 10 years after I graduated. So that right there is so critical. And the thing that they are going to remember, what type of student you were. Did you ask questions? So in a virtual environment, how intentional, because some of this is a test. I need y'all to understand that. Some of this is a test. How bad do you want it? How intentional were you to even initiate conversation? How intentional were you to try to seek answers? I always tell the students, I don't care if you don't have a question. You better make up a question just to go in there for office hours, just to establish a relationship. Because every great leader asks questions, period. And you want to be a person that professor remembers. They came to office hours. They took advantage of every opportunity. They asked questions in a live setting. I remember that student, they sat on the front row. They didn't go to the back of the classroom and not engage and appear apathetic, like they didn't care or felt like the world owed them something. You don't want to be that student. I promise you. Because it's going to impact your grade. It can impact your grade. I'll give you an example. When it comes final time, you know, students, I forgot who said it. Don't wait till your midterms to try to start engaging and looking at how you can bring your grade up. Because at that point, it's like too late. As a professor, we like, you ain't come to me at the beginning of the term. So why are you trying to run me now? We're not going to try to help you. But at the end of the semester, we see a student has been working hard and they've been trying. They're on the border of the grade. I mean, it could be a small, minute point that takes you to the next grade. Many professors will push you to the next grade because they know you've been trying. You've made yourself known. But those who were apathetic and ain't tried, we ain't even trying to help you. We won't even give you that half a point. So, but please understand, these are real truths, and I'm giving it to you from the other end as a professor in how we process and how we think through things as well. So, no, these are some great tips. Let's talk about the first week of school, first week of college. What should students do? And I'm gonna start with you, Kayla. What should we do to prepare for a successful term? What helps you be successful?
So my very first semester, like I mentioned, was very unconventional. So of course we were all virtual, but at my university, I was like one of the only virtual students. Everyone else was in person. So I had to build those, like we mentioned earlier, build those relationships virtually, which was a little difficult. But I made sure that my professors knew who I was. They knew who I was. I emailed before class even started, so like maybe a week or so before the semester started, I emailed them like, hey, my name is Kayla, just so you know, I won't be here in person, but I just wanted to let you know who I am. We had office hour, like a quick office hour meeting. And then I just had all my supplies ready. I had my planner. I had my notebooks, everything just lined out and ready for me to use when it was time. So that was for me very unconventional. I don't know about you ladies. Maybe they have something better to share, but just the very basic stuff.
Okay.
I would say the first week of college, you need to print out all of your syllabuses or syllabi and literally take your planner, take a day, like take a couple hours and like write down when everything is due. I just got onto that my junior year, but imagine if I did it my freshman year, I'd been way more organized. But yeah, you have to like write down like when assignments are due and when big projects are due. So when your professor mentions it, because not all the time your professors are going to mention stuff. They're going to be like, "Oh, it's in your syllabus." You'll be like, "What? What do you mean?" So yeah, definitely like write your stuff down before you get surprised, and you can actually like plan out how your semester is going to go. Also that, and then when you do get on campus, this is back to the friend groups. This is how you make your friends too. When you get on campus, make sure you walk the campus before your first day of school, and kiki with your friends while you're doing it. Like, oh, this is Turner Hall. This is MLK. Like, I know where I'm going. Because I mean, it is kind of embarrassing when you're like, freshman, you asking people where's such and such building. But yeah, that's one way. Like, it's a cute little bonding moment too with your friends. So make sure you walk the campus before you go to class. So that's one thing you should definitely do.
Bria said all three of the things I was going to say. So I was going to say print your syllabi out because they should be out the week before you start classes. And then when you write out all those major assignment due dates, finals dates, midterm dates in your planner, it'll help you have a gauge for how many extracurricular activities you can do that school year, just based off of like how loaded things will be at a certain time of year. And then I was going to say what I plan on doing on getting to campus is, making sure I know where all of my classes are before the first day of classes, because some professors are really strict about being there on time and attendance, and some aren't. Like, I had a Zoom professor for speech, and she required, it was 8 a.m., 7 a.m. for some people. She required your cameras to be on, no bonnets, no nothing. And she took attendance, and I started off in that class with a 66 because my camera was off for the first week. So she was grading attendance super heavy, but in the end I was able to finish with an A. But that lesson taught me, okay, so I need to be on time for everything. You should be on time most of the time, but like some professors may not be playing with that time and attendance sheet. So just make sure you have a gauge for how your professors are that first week.
The only thing I can add to everything that Paul said was try to be ahead of the homework / assignments, since you have the syllabus and everything that you need. So maybe a few days before review the material. So once you're in class, you can ask the questions you actually need and get clarification on things, because that could be a big thing when you're studying. So you can actually study what you need to and not what you don't.
Yeah, I was having some flashback moments. I got a B in one of my classes because I didn't go to class all the time. I mean, yeah, you could do all the work and pass the assignments, pass the test. But some teachers are very anal about being in class, being on time. And this was a math class I was mad that I had to take because I was like, I took calculus in high school and I got to take pre-cal. I had to take pre-cal because my ACT score, so listen, future college students, my ACT score was just average. So they put me in pre-cal instead of Cal 1. I'm like, this didn't make any sense. I knew the stuff. I didn't really have to study, but that class was from 3 to 4, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So on Friday, everybody leaving to go to the games. I gotta be in class at 3 o'clock in the freaking afternoon. So sometimes I skipped on Fridays. It didn't go. Instead of an A, I got a B in the class because of that. And again, this is just to show you your professors, they're not going to say anything, but it's going to show up in your grades. So that means be on time. And that's why you need to learn the campus, because you can't use the excuse when you try to get to class on the first day and you come in late. I couldn't find the classroom. The professor ain't going to care, because in their mind, they're going to be thinking, well, you should have been prepared. You should have walked the campus yesterday, the day before, and figured out where all your classes were. So it's a no nonsense, no excuse type of environment typically. So a couple of the ladies had the distinct honor of pledging and crossing my fabulous sorority. So, and I'm not gonna put my other ladies on blast with whatever and have them share anything in this area, but for students listening, because I know a lot of times students think, yeah, when I get to college, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and I want to pledge, and I always be like, oh, look, okay, get the pledging out your head. You need to focus on your grades and all those different things. But what type of advice for students who come in thinking like that, yeah, I want to do that, what type of advice would you ladies give students who are thinking about, yeah, I want to pledge, I want to do all this? What kind of advice would you give them in terms of being focused, being prepared, being ready, and how key their academics and the social aspect of college plays into their ability to do that?
You want to go first?
I can try. So, academics are very important, because you don't want to pledge and then right after you come out, you're on probation because your GPA isn't where it's supposed to be, because you let all your grades drop. That's the main thing. You need to make sure that your grades are in order before, during, and after, because that is one of the main reasons that you are pledging. That is GPA first, then pledging, because if your grades aren't right, then you won't get into whatever organization that you would like to go to. And then as far as the social aspect, whatever organization you pledge, that is now attached to you. So you have to make sure you uphold whatever organization you are pledging throughout the rest of your life, because they'll be like, oh, that's them, what XYZ, because you did something that you weren't supposed to do. And now everyone's looking at you like, why did you do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like being a part of Greek life is definitely a privilege on campus. And I say that because like you have to make sure everything else is in check, like your grades, your reputation, what you're involved in. So you really have to like, the work is kind of after, but the work really starts now if you are interested in whatever Greek organization that you're trying to do. So you have to make sure that, you know, everything is in a row, that your grades are straight, and that, you know, you're doing what you need to do to get to that point. But also like you gotta practice discretion too. Like don't be out here, I want to do this, I want to do that, and all that stuff, because people are going to be looking at you crazy. But you really just have to do your part. Most of the work starts at the front end, but I promise you, like whatever you're doing, like people are always watching you. So like people are always watching you. So I promise you, when people are not, like people are going to talk about your grades, they're talking about your grades, talking about what organizations you are, how you move in your different organizations. Are you a cancer to whatever organization you're in right now, and stuff like that. So just have to be cognizant of like what you're doing, because people are always watching. So yeah, that's what I would say.
People are always watching.
Especially at HBCU too, because it's only so small. Like It's
Everybody knows everybody.
the HBCU culture is so small. Like everybody knows your name, and yeah, you have to be careful. Like you have to. So
Yeah, and then even if you're at a non-HBCU, especially being a minority student,
yeah,
I mean, come on, you're going to stand out.
yeah,
I mean, people are definitely going to be watching you, and they're going to know who you are. So the same applies there as well. And that's where we go back to even your professors, because again, those are the people you're going to go back to write you letters of recommendation. So you got to make sure you are mindful of how you carry yourself, from your professors to your department chair, the head of your department, all those things, the head of your college. Those are relationships you need to know. And those are relationships you want to make sure you are very responsible in managing.
absolutely. Oh, I do want to say one thing too. Like, make sure you're doing your research too, and that you're doing everything for the right reasons, because your college life is only but so much, and this carries on after college. So you got to make sure it's more than just step shows and stroll offs and wearing the colors and the jackets and getting the and stuff. So you got to make sure that you're ready to work now and after. So yeah.
Absolutely. Ready to work. Make sure you make the right decision. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. But one of the things I want to talk about is from the career side, because I've seen this as a gap as well. I know Kayla and Karis, you haven't really gotten to, well, you may have done some things, because I just know how strong of leaders you are. From an internship and a career perspective, oftentimes I'm talking to college students and I'm like, well, have you been to your career center? Well, what is that? Where is that at? How do you not know where your career center is? So let's talk about internships and the importance of internships, and how everything we just talked about, how well you prepare and show up in your grades, also translates into that. So let's talk about getting ready for the next level when you're getting ready to graduate. So when you think about graduation, when you're getting ready to leave, when should students start thinking about preparing for that when they're in college?
From day one, from the jump. For real. Because, like, in my case, I'm pursuing med school after graduating. But med school these days is so competitive to get into. Like, you can't just be smart, because the majority of people who apply to med school are smart. So you have to show them what makes you so distinguished, which is why, Coach Tamika, you mentioned this earlier, the importance of being well-rounded. Like, you have to show that you're not just grades, but you're a person, and this is what you like to do outside, and this is how you're a leader, and this is how you serve others. And I would say, like, I think it's important because, when people graduate, a whole lot of people have bachelor's degrees. So, for those jobs, for those internships, for those next steps, you have to show how you're distinguished. And then those career centers, and even, I don't know if y'all schools are like mine, flooding your email with all these opportunities and whatever. I know it can be overwhelming, but just like skim it, because there might be something really valuable in there. And you might have a network connection on campus who could help you get that internship, which really, really will help your application in the future.
Yeah. I would say, I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I would say that, like, going to the career center, I was always at the career center, like every week talking to my advisor. But one thing I would say, like, my freshman year, I applied to like big internships that I had no business applying to, but just to see like what would happen, or like how my resume was comparing. So I was out here applying to like CBS and ABC and Disney as a freshman, just cause. But I would say, like, for me, as my internship career kind of was, like, I was an unpaid intern my freshman year of college. So you are gonna have to, like, it's not gonna be all like rainbows and unicorns thinking you're about to get paid this big check when you get out of your freshman year because you had a little bit of college experience. It doesn't work like that. You gotta have to work a little bit more, but it pays off at the end because you'll have resume builders, and when it's time to get to those big like companies that are looking for you, you know, you'll stand out even more. I think that's why I'm fortunate enough to be at where I am right now, because I was putting in the work when I was younger, like a younger freshman, younger college student. And so it made it a lot easier for me to obtain jobs and get interviews and things of that nature. So.
And I hope y'all caught what Bria said. She put the work in earlier. She didn't wait till her junior and senior year to start putting the work in, because you can't go and run in those CBS and Paramount and think, hey, they're going to let you in, and you hadn't put the work in beforehand. So do not think, oh, well, I'm a freshman, I can't intern. That's a fallacy. Now, the internships that come through your career center at your school may not be looking for freshmen, but there are other ways to get internships.
Coach Mika, going off of that, and then Kayla, I'll let you go. I was gonna say the whole thing also about waiting until like the end or the last 2 years to do these things is people don't just want to see what you did, they want to see your commitment and like how much time you spent doing it. So if you tell them I did XYZ, but then they see that you've only been doing it for 5 months versus somebody like Bria who's been working since freshman year, so she can say I've been editing for 2 years. Like they're going to take somebody who not only did something, but who has quite an extensive amount of time doing that, which is why it's really important to get started early.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I can actually speak on getting started early. So my first semester, I had a lot of time on my hands. I actually applied to like random internships, and I got one working with a marketing media company, which I'm an international business major, and I was like, marketing is not my thing. But I did it, and I think it's really important to start somewhere. So Bria talked about being unpaid. That's going to happen. But also starting, even if marketing isn't something that you're interested in, still getting that experience is super important, because now I know how to work Photoshop, and I work with Bluehost, and I work with WordPress, and now people are looking at me like, oh, you know how to do Photoshop? Oh, cool. Can you do this for me real quick? And I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm not that skilled in it, but I have some basic knowledge, you know? So getting started and starting somewhere is really important. Also, it's a lot of times STEM majors are super praised in college, and they do wonderful things. So there's no hate on them. But business students, I feel sometimes don't get as many not mainly opportunities, but as much praise, or just anybody in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. It's like, oh, you know, you're poli-sci. Okay, I'm so-and-so. And it doesn't really matter. Stay in your lane, do what you got to do, grind. My university requires internships for business majors. So in order for me to graduate, I have to have an internship. I mean, I've already had 2, so I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track, but I think it's super important to take advantage of those opportunities. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say. Yeah, just start somewhere and just take advantage of all opportunities. We talked about resources. That's super important. So yeah, the doors are, life is what you make it. College is what you make it. You have to go out there and make it for yourself, make a name for yourself. So that's my last few words.
One other thing I remembered about applying to internships, something that I try to do when I'm applying to opportunities is to get a contact for somebody in the department or for that internship. I'll give an example. My program at Howard requires that we do summer research internships every summer. So when I was applying, I would try to find, the department, the program coordinator or the program director's email or somebody. And like Coach Tamika said, I would come up with some sort of question or say like, hey, my name is Karis. I'm applying. Do you have a few minutes to discuss the logistics of the program? And in this virtual environment, I was able to get a couple of Zoom meetings with some of these program directors, one of which was the director of a program at Vanderbilt. And I was fortunate to be offered an internship this summer at Vanderbilt doing cardiovascular disease research, which is what I'll be doing. But I really think my conversation with him over Zoom let him see my face, let him see more of my personality. So when my application came through, he knew kind of more information. He had a little bit more insight on me than some of the other people. And so I think having those conversations, it takes a few minutes, but it can go a long way.
Yeah. And I have to add, like, networking. Like, you're going to have to know. That's like everybody's favorite word when you get to college. You're going to have to network, and you're going to have to get comfortable with talking to other people, and not only networking up top, but networking across from you, because, you know, there's other people that are in certain programs that you're trying to get into, and you have to really, you know, talk to people. And one thing people love to do is talk about themselves and all the great things that they love to do. So it's never an issue of like, oh, they probably won't talk to me. They most likely are. So just make sure you have to network. And that's very, very important. And make sure you take advantage of the career fairs too. Because I mean, not sometimes sometimes you are looking for stuff, but they will really be right in front of you. And you just have to go to a career fair and talk to a recruiter, email them the next day and apply. So yeah.
Yeah, I told y'all these ladies are phenomenal. But I want to just cover one thing before we wrap up. It's always this mystery about HBCUs, but HBCUs is getting a lot of love now. But I hope y'all were listening too, because Kara's mentioned, okay, I got a research internship at Vanderbilt. You don't have to go to Vanderbilt University to be part of Vanderbilt University. You can go do a research program there. Bria is Paramount Television is where her internship is. Maya, you didn't share exactly who your connections are, but although you're at an HBCU, you've been able to make some connections with some people on the med school track at University of Mississippi?
University of Mississippi Medical Center with Dr. Dan Coleman.
So, guys, because Kayla, you said it's all about what you make of these opportunities, and I loved how Kayla said, even if it's not in your direct area, it's all about depth. The more depth you have, the more diversified your skills are, the more options you're going to have. It also, the more depth you have in your portfolio, the more attractive you're going to be to companies who are looking for students to become interns, for grad schools who are looking for students to join their graduate program. They don't want students, med schools aren't looking for folks who were just like, hey, I just did biology and I just did the basic stuff. Okay, that's boring. So it's all about what you make it. So you just got to think about it from all angles. So we're going to wrap this up because there's so many things we could talk about, but they gave you a lot of information to get you started. So I hope you all were taking notes. I hope you share with other students. I hope the bigger hope is you apply the tips they've given you, because this is what leaders do. We reach back, we give back. And each one of these ladies are all leaders. They're leading on their campuses. They're leading in their environment. And that's why they are so successful. That's why they are doing well. And that's why they are going to continue to do well. So to close it out, so Kim's like, great job, ladies. Y'all know I'm always tooting all of their horns, and if it's not to their mom, I may send them a message like, great job. Because I'm super proud of what they're doing and everything that they continue to do. So just closing out, what would be your final word to, I want you to give advice to parents of students who's getting ready to go to college. What advice would you give them? And then I want you to give advice to this, what is your closing remarks for that student who is getting ready to go to college? So let's start with the parents, because I think sometimes parents, they need to listen to our young leaders and hear from your perspective how they can support or how they can help their child be ready.
Parents.
I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I was thinking.
Parent, like, your support means everything. It really does. And I know sometimes we don't really be saying it, or we are a little like dismissive to the advice, but like, we do hear you, because I promise you, when we get on campus, or when your child gets on campus, they're going to instantly miss you. Like, it's everybody will. Like it happens to all of my friends that didn't really have that close of relationship with their parents back at home. Like they're going to miss you. So just like they're gonna come around if they aren't right now. And but just continue to support them and show them that love because I promise you 9 times out of 10, they're gonna call you and be like, I miss you so much, I miss home. And you just gonna be like, I told you so, but don't tell them that though. But you gotta be like, still be there, still be their foundation because they will come around. I guarantee you they will.
To piggyback that, I was just gonna say, parents, let your baby, let them go. Like, all right, I'll move you in, and then just if they don't call you, they don't call you. But when they need money, they will call you. I promise you that.
Oh, we gonna need money.
I called
Homecoming season.
but they'll be fine. Everything that you've instilled in them, they're definitely going to take that to heart. I just, every time I'm going through something, I hear my mom like, all right, Kayla, are you sure you want to do this? All right, let's think about this. Let's walk through these steps. And I do that to myself all the time. So let them go. They'll be back. Like Bria said, they will be back. And just have that money ready for them sitting on the side, just in case they ask that, they're going to ask for sure.
I'm yelling. I think for me, I was just going to piggyback off of what Bria said. Just that the support is everything. Like being virtual, being at home, I was able to still be with my family. But there are some days where I was like, Mommy, can I just have a hug? Like it was just so rough. And just like, even if there may be a lack of initiation, just recognize that, like Bria said, like your support does deep down mean a whole lot, even if they don't show it, and they will come around.
The calls will be scarce, but when the calls come, they'll be for about an hour and a half, maybe. Because I just want to talk to you, hear you on the phone. That's what I do with my mom. I call her about once a week, and we're both good. So just know when they call, they'll be wanting to tell you just about everything that happened in the past week, and then you won't hear from them about the next week.
Oh yes, and you'll be calling because they're gonna miss your food. Like the calf won't just hit hard, and it's just so many things just happen.
That was the hardest breakup. Mother's food.
Yeah.
So
don't hit like how it hit at home. It don't.
So the suggestion is put together that food care package and surprise your babies with it.
We love care packages. What? Snacks? Yes.
Put together the care package. Just don't show up unannounced. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know if you can see there, but
Oh, that's funny. All right, I appreciate you guys. So, what's your closing remarks for the students?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy the experience of college because you only get it for 4 years. This graduate school is probably not as fun as college will be, but it's not the same as your college experience.
Yeah, you definitely what's the saying? You gain what you put out what you put in. What's the
you get out what you put in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. Really have to make most of it, and yeah, good luck. Like college is so fun. It really is. When you get into the groove of things and you join the right things and you get your friend group going, like it'll be the best memories you've ever made for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, don't be so quick to want to become that adult because scholars who've already graduated and they're working and paying bills, they all said the same thing. This adulting is not fun. Mm-hmm. I want to go back to being a broke college student.
I would say like just remember that you got it, and like the same grace that you were given to get to where you are now is the same grace that will keep you going. And just like Bria said earlier, like I won't say don't be afraid to ask for help because I know sometimes it can be scary, but ask for help even if you are afraid, or you're embarrassed, or you feel just kind of it's new for you, this whole thing about failing or things not coming as easy for you. Just recognize, like I said earlier, that you're not the only one, but nobody can help you if you don't make it known that you need help. So reach out to upperclassmen, reach out to your core group, those around you, and with their help and with God's grace, like, you got it for sure. You got it.
Yes, a closed mouth, it don't get fed, period.
Show don't.
So you gotta utilize your resources, utilize your network, utilize your professors, their office hours. Don't do college alone. Build that success team who's going to help encourage you. Don't shy away from your parents neither. You know, hey, just have that balance, but enjoy the experience. It is what you make out of it. Your college days are going to be some of your best days of your life. And if you make those right relationships, here I am, 20 something. I lost track, but 20 something years later, I still have some of my same college friends, some of my same engineering friends, because we literally were like family. And today we could pick up the phone and we play catch up. So these are lifelong relationships, and these relationships have paid off in so many ways in helping one another get jobs. So the answer to every problem is always a person. So never discount a person. Never be careful about those bridges you burn, because life is so, especially in this digital space, there's no strangers. Everybody knows everybody in some shape, form, or fashion. So be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you treat yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Because the way you treat yourself is going to impact how you treat others and how they see you. And you want to be that magnet in a positive way. And you don't want to be a person who comes, when you come into the room, people go the opposite direction. So as you get ready to prepare for this next journey, make sure you are ready. Take these tips and apply them, because it can be an awesome experience if you do what is necessary to make it awesome. So I want to thank Bria, Maya, Karis, and Kayla. I can't wait for what is next, because I'm looking forward to hearing about how the internships and stuff are going to go this summer. I know they're going to be super fabulous, but I can't wait for everything that's next, because we couldn't share everything that you've accomplished and everything that you've done, but you've done so much, and I'm super proud. I'm sending happy Mother's Day to your moms. I appreciate them for sharing y'all with me, because all of these are my babies. I wasn't blessed to birth kids, but I got all my babies, and I'm super proud of each of you, and I can't wait to continue to celebrate your future accomplishments. So go and enjoy your Saturday. We gave you what we came to give you, so now we about to sign out. So the time to be ready is not the time to get ready. Always position yourself to stay ready. This is Coach T, your college prep boss, signing off. Everybody, until the next time. Oh, we're doing parents. This was focused on the students. Next Sunday, we're bringing in the parents.
Ooh.
We got a panel of parents who are going to share their experiences, and they're going to share tips for parents who are working to get their kids ready for the next level, because we continue to see some of the same patterns, and we want to try to help break some of these bad patterns and put students in a better position getting ready for the next level. So next Sunday will be for you parents. All right, check us out, thecollegeprepboss.com. Enjoy. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.